Hey, Cindy, how are you? What's that smell? What's burning?
Hey, Deb, something is definitely burning, and I think it's from up there in Canada. There we go. What do you think, Deb?
Smells toasty to me. I don't know if Canada is saging the United States or trying to cleanse us, but there is like a yellow hue to our sky. And I don't know. It smells like acrid in your throat, and my eyes are burning. I don't know what's going on up there. Do you?
Well, there's a lot of things going on, and we're going to answer a question today about that because we are here for the curiously curious. And this is our second episode. And I'm Cindy Schwartz, and I am a history teacher, radio announcer, and a podcaster. And every question we ask every week on Do Zebras Have Tails is one that we will look at from two perspectives, right, Deb? We'll look at it from a historical perspective and also a scientific perspective, which is what Deb's forte is. So, Deb, maybe for this last time, you tell people what you do.
I'm a college professor. I'm a naturalist. I'm a photographer, and I'm a bit of a science nerd. And today on um, Do Zebras Have Tails? If not, how do they swat the flies? We're going to answer the crazy question or annoying question of, do you smell something burning? What's that smell?
Yeah, we definitely do. So, how about we hop into it? What is this scientific reasoning for this smell that we're smelling, and for this the look of our skies, Deb? What is going on?
Well, you know what? It goes back to the time when the tree huggers were around in the 1970s, and everybody was against deforestation. They did not want the trees to be cut down because they knew with the trees being cut down, the ground would become unstable and there'd be lots of mudslides. They were trying to get rid of wood in using wood in paper bags like you'd get at the grocery store, and switching everything over to plastics. But we know what a mistake it was to go to plastics now. Now, most of us have plastics in our body the size of a credit card. As a matter of fact, I tried to charge something with my face the other day, but it didn't work out. Anyway, so because of climate change, the earth is moving around, the winds are shifting. El Nino, which is coming in from Canada and going across the United States, is a bad boy this year. And he's bringing whatever the jet stream is in Canada down to New York and along the eastern coast, into Michigan, into the Midwest and the United States. And what's happening? The weather is changing. New York City is having tropical weather, much akin to like Florida used to have. And now when it rains here, it always floods. You always see the subway, the trains where the people can't get out the doors because of all the water's rushing in. We never had that here before. But guess what? Now Canada's starting to have our weather. And so they are having lightning strikes. The lightning strikes are hitting the trees and setting them on fire. There's also some human activity of people being careless, throwing cigarettes out the window or campfires. So for one more time, the Canadian forest is burning. The only good thing about a burn is that some specific pine cones and some specific pine trees need a burn to populate. Okay. So they will actually burst. They're happy to have a fire. They'll actually burst and propagate to new little trees. So when this is all over, that forest will recuperate. But in the meantime, we are getting this in New York City, in Michigan, in Chicago, even down to the Carolinas. And so we want to do the right thing in science. And the Native Americans had it down pat. They would use an area of the United States. They'd grow vegetables. They'd spend a spring and a summer there. They'd harvest in October, and then they would migrate to another place. And when they left, they would actually burn the land, a controlled burn. They would burn the land that they used because it would help it regenerate for the next year when they came back, when they migrated back into that area. Well, that's not happening right now. We're just using land and discarding it, and we've got all kinds of chaos going on. So that's kind of the scientific point of view from what is causing the fires, why the fires are happening, and how we all need to go back to everything natural, get rid of plastics, do migration, take care of our land so very carefully, because if not, this is what we're going to see every night. And that's the sun, that's not the moon, that's the sun. And that is a scary look to the sun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but for a little
Yeah.
history on some of this that's going back, way back into the 70s and before, we're going to turn to our historian, Cindy.
Deb, it's really a moving picture to see what you're sitting in front of there. And, you know, it's serious stuff, right? It's really serious stuff. It's what the air we breathe, the life we live, the life our children will
Yeah.
have.
Yes.
So, you know, taking a look at some of the history of people who really want to save the environment, goes back a long time. And actually, in my research, it took me back to India. And when you showed that picture of the tree huggers, I was really fascinated by this. Because the picture that you're showing there really comes from tree huggers and environmentalist movement, largely led by women in the 1970s. But prior to that, hundreds of years before, in the 1450s, we actually see the beginning of a major environmental movement in India, led by a group of people that are called the Bishnoi people.
How interesting.
And yeah, it's really interesting. And they lived in Rajasthan, India, which is like not far from Pakistan. And their whole community was eco-centric. And to them, the tree, you see, they lived in really where the Tar Desert is. And so there's that water is not in abundance there. And it's very, very difficult to grow trees or have anything with greenery. But apparently, a particular tree grows there well. It doesn't require much water. And that's called the kajeri tree. Now, the kajeri tree is the one they're hugging here. And
Oh,
this
wow.
particular tree, as we said, it doesn't need much water. And to plant one to this group of people in India is sacred. It is a sacred duty to plant these trees and protect them. And in India as well there, animals, the environment, they're equal to human beings. The love and respect that you give to human beings, you give to everything in the environment, including the trees. So it makes sense that they would be hugging the trees as deforestation through the years happens. And so this history was fascinating to me. And there was a particular event that occurred in the 1730s, a massacre actually, where 363 people, this Bishnoi people, sacrificed their own lives
Oh, my.
when the Maharaja of India, the leader at the time, wanted to cut down trees in their community
Oh,
to
no.
make his palace.
Oh,
And
wow.
the soldiers shot the first woman that they found who protested and hugged the tree.
Oh,
And after
my.
that, they shot the women and the children and the men who hugged the trees. So 363 died. And the Maharaja was so horrified by what his troops did. He knew they were cutting down trees, but he didn't realize how sacred they were to these people, that he formally apologized, went there in person, and forbid by decree that the trees should ever be taken down and that all animal life needed to be respected in this community. So that history is in the 1730s. Then we pop into more modern times, and the picture you're showing is from the 70s. And this eco-centric community in India is still strong. And then, Deb, it gets picked up by the United States and Americans in the 1960s and 70s, same time, who become tree huggers themselves. And we get the whole environmentalist movement of the 1960s coming from the book we know, Silent Spring, from
Rachel Carson.
Rachel Carson, right, exactly, Rachel Carson. And so the movement takes on, goes full speed ahead in the 1970s. And then we go to the time you're speaking of now, where we have this issue with wildfires. And people who want to protect the trees Um, but the trees are, they're burning, and they're burning because it appears everything I read on Canadian reports and even in Michigan due to climate change. Would you agree, Deb, as a scientist?
I totally agree. Totally agree. Climate change is screwing up the planet.
It's just too darn hot, and there just isn't enough water. And one thing I read too, Deb, that I think is really interesting is something called zombie fires. In Canada, they've had some of their worst fires since really the early 2020s, like 2021, 2022,
Yes.
2023, right?
Yes.
And these zombie fires are fires that never actually go out, Deb. Have you heard of these?
Yes, I have. Yes. They continually burn. Yes.
All during the winter
Yep.
because the climate is so warm that they kind of smolder under the brush.
Right.
And so they're always there. And then in the summer when there's very little rain and it's drought-like conditions, they just go on fire again, but they never really leave.
Right.
Since 2021, we've had these zombie fires, and they're in great numbers throughout Canada,
Yes. And I think,
especially Ontario, right?
right. And as we pointed out in a previous conversation, that's why they're cutting down the limbs of the trees to try to prevent the zombie fires from climbing up the trees. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an issue that we wanted to kind of address as best we could. Just essentially some of the history of the environment and the science that Deb provided us with, and a little of the history from India that these tree huggers date themselves back to. So, questions asked: why is it smell? What's going on? We know that the wildfires in Canada and in parts of Michigan, right, Deb, are causing this. What's the prognosis, Deb, as a scientist? What do you say?
It's going to keep happening. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep happening because the climate is warming up and there's not enough water. And our environment in New York City, where we're based, is moving up towards Canada, where you're getting these crazy thunderstorms and lightning. And Canada never had storms like that before. They usually, if you ever watch tornadoes and hurricanes and so forth, they usually don't go to Canada. They usually go out to sea after they destroy the United States because Canada has a very strong front, that cold front, but it's pushing back, much like the glaciers are pushing back too. So what's happening is they're getting thunderstorms and they're getting careless people up there who are accidentally setting fire to the trees. But there are a couple of trees that need fires to propagate, but it's taking down too much of the environment and it's destroying the air quality for everybody below Canada to its south. And does this last every day? No, but on the days it does last, we actually can't leave the house. It's almost like having a silent snowstorm, or it's almost like having COVID again, because we cannot go out when there's bad air quality. Our eyes will start burning, we'll start choking. So it's really not a good thing. Hopefully we'll get some people into office one day who will take care of the environment a little bit better. Can this stuff be resolved? Well, we know that when we pay attention to clean air and clean water, we do see results, but it takes 20 to 30 to 40 years. So it's time to get cracking.
Yeah, and I'll say this last thing. Historically, in 1969, a book came out by Paul Ehrlich, and it was all about overpopulation.
Yes.
And what I love about that is he has the inalienable rights, excuse me, and those inalienable rights. We know that from hearing from the Declaration of Independence, but those inalienable rights, he lists a number of them, and one of them is that we have the right to clean air.
Yes.
We have a right, an innate right as human beings to clean air, and that's a non-negotiable.
Yes. Yes.
So, with that being said, we on Do Zebras Have Tails are so thrilled that you joined us today, and we try to answer those questions that can bother us, annoy us, and really just confuse us at times. But we did our best, right, Deb?
We did. I hope for the curiously curious, we answered your questions, and we ask you to please write in via Spotify some questions you would like us to research and answer. We're always here to educate our viewers with some banter between me and Cindy and some interesting facts about science and history.
Yeah, so check us out. New episodes will drop on Wednesdays, and we hope you have a great day and join us again and send us questions like Deb said.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.